Hello, hello, hello! Welcome to the Cleric Corner. My name is Riker, and here we talk about all things Dungeons & Dragons, tapping into our higher powers to create worlds more unique and stories more impactful. Are you guys excited? Because I am excited. And today, we are going to go over some fun things for the future of D&D with the drop of the second Unearthed Arcana for 1 D&D, or D&D 5th 6th edition, D&D 5.5, however you put it. We have the full list coming up. So thank you guys so much for being here. I will be perfectly frank and honest. I have not looked at this thing. I have had no time. As some of you might know, I do a little bit of like property management on the side, and we just had a property that was infested with bed bugs. So the last couple days I've been busy with that. And then as well, getting my next issue of the Higher Powers magazine here on my channel for the spooky month of October. So stay tuned for that coming out for all Patreons on the 1st, or Patreon members, and everyone else can get on my website as well. But this is gonna be a fun one with blood, brains, zombies, vampires, and all that good stuff. So be sure to keep an eye out for that. But today we're gonna focus on this stuff. Right after, a huge thank to my Patreon members first. Always got to thank them first. You make this possible. You help me get up every day and get excited for this kind of stuff. So our family has grown with Cleric Scott Burns, our acolytes Kaleidoscope and Weaver Atropos, and our disciples Christian Roberts, Ryan Ramirez, Christopher Byram, Melkadil, Christopher Olson, Joseph Rogers, Orin Hammerquist, Matt Clark, and 95 miles per hour Tonberry. That's a fun name. All right, who do we have in the chat? Who do we have? We have Pink Floyd. Welcome. Glad to have you. Pyrotic Void. That's a cool name. Western Justice. Yo. Ducky 1223. Hello. Hope they bring back the Scion class. Actually, that's something that's really cool. Not that they will or won't do that. I have no idea. But there is some things set up that we'll look at today that might foreshadow some other classes. I was able to at least watch some videos on it. So here's how today's going to work. For those of you coming in and those of you here, hey Phil Kearney, welcome. If you have a question or want something, I'll say this first. This PDF is a freaking chunker. It's thick with 3 C's. It's got 37 to 40 pages of content, which includes classes, subclasses, spells, and feats, among maybe other things that I forgot. That's a lot. And with the time that we usually take on these live streams, that means that I'll spend like less than a minute on a page, or a minute a page. And I don't want to do exactly that. I want to take time to do things, and I want to focus on things that you want to see. So that's what we'll do. Is I'm going to show you kind of what's in the document. You guys tell me what we want to focus on. I'll kind of go over the things that I want to look at. And then, of course, if you want to super chat, then, of course, that's where we're going to go. We're going to take some big focuses on the super chats if you decide to do that. Obviously, monetary value is something that I appreciate and want to give time to. So that's how tonight's going to work. Yeah? So let's get into it already. For those of you who need to know where it's at, to find this source, or this Unearthed Arcana, this playtest, you go on to D&D Beyond. It can be up here at the top. It says try out our latest 1 D&D playtest. And then you click on that. Or you can access it through the sources, 1 D&D right here. Click on that. And then this was the last one right here. This one was 4 weeks ago or so, 4 or 5 weeks ago. And then this one just dropped today. And this one I heard this one's going to be here until, I think, October 20th. So almost a month of playtest. So you have plenty of time to use it for you and your players, implement in your game. You have a full month. So 4 games if you do it weekly, essentially. And then that is when the survey will drop, where we'll kind of revisit again and then go over the things that we want to. So we'll click on this, and then you'll have the video here overviewing the things that are in there, and then you download the PDF right here. And see, it says survey opens on October 20th, okay? So, then we have it right here. The Unearthed Arcana Expert Classes. So, what expert classes are, as we'll go into it, is they are taking all of the classes in D&D and giving them tags or putting them in a box, which is really good. So an expert class is anyone with basically an expertise, or is labeled as the Bard, the Ranger. Let's see if we can get this a little bit bigger. Oh, what's this doing still here? I'm going to delete this. There we go. That was from last live stream where we went over a roll table world building. So I have a playlist if you want to check out all my live streams. It's on my channel. But yeah, the Bard, the Ranger, and the Rogue. And it is also mentioned in the video that the Artificer will also be put in the expert class. Excuse me, I had to mute that one for you guys. Whew. That one was one of the... this one like clouds the edges of your vision kind of sneeze. That was a good one. Okay. Anyways, the Artificer will be included in the Expert as well. So here's where I got you back on the Psionic that you mentioned, okay? So the Psionic is a class, obviously we know in previous D&D editions, where it has not had a 5th edition counterpart. In fact, Artificer is the only class that has been created for 5th edition since its start. Meaning that 5th edition does not want to create new classes. And for some reason they feel stuck, or they don't want to, or they feel like it's too much or something. Where like Pathfinder, they come out with, you know, new classes every Tuesday, essentially. So with this tag, what they're doing is they're giving these classes a name or a category they can go under. And so if they create a feature, like a feat or a spell or whatever that says, hey, if you are an expert, you can use this feature. If you are an expert, you can use this feature. Instead of, hey, if you are a Bard, a Ranger, or a Rogue, you can use this feature, and then Artificer being made later isn't included in that list. You can say an expert can use this feature, and then whatever class you make after that with that label can now access that feature, right? So you can play it back. And so with the Psionics, right, I think later on we have... Yes. So these are the class groups right here. We have experts with Bard, Ranger, Rogue, the mages with Sorcerer, Warlock, Wizard, the priest, Cleric, Druid, Paladin, and the warriors, Barbarian, Fighter, Monk. So let's say that the Psionics is a mage, right? And there are only certain features feats or spells or whatever that are subject to the mages. Then they can just label the Psionic as a mage, and that's so much easier now to create classes that are now, what's the word? Back. It works with previous stuff that you've made, whatever that word is. You can help me in the chat. Western Justice says, you're the first I'm hearing about this though, and Nerdarchy also has a stream, but I'm choosing you because you bring energy and I like, especially with flavors. Hey, well, thank you so much. Hopefully I'm bringing the energy. No pressure. Nerdarchy is a great channel either way, and here's the thing, there are so many different channels and they all bring out different insight, and I hope that I'll bring something new to the table with everyone out there. So, again, thank you so much for being here. And again, if you want, again, for people who are just coming in, if you want me to check out something specifically, you can ask me in the chat or super chat, and we'll for sure get to it, okay? So, essentially, with the classes, or actually, before I get into that, this is important to know as well. What's in the future of D&D playtests? So, what's going to happen from here on out? Because we're getting playtest after playtest, right? Kind of foreshadowing the 2024 change. So basically what they're doing is revised versions of every single class. So in this specific one, we're seeing the experts, right? Because it's the expert classes. So the Ranger, Rogue, and Bard. Future ones, we'll see everything else. 48 subclasses, which are about 2 to 3 for every class. So we'll see 2 to 3 subclasses for every class. And then new and revised spells, new and revised feats, which we will see in this document. New weapon options for certain classes, we'll also see in this document. A new system for creating a home base for your characters, that one I think is yet to be seen. Revised encounter building rules, also yet to be seen. And new and revised monsters, also yet to be seen. Which is awesome. Let's go and check out the CR again, shall we? let's revisit the challenge rating. So basically, and again a reminder, as long as the playtest progresses, you will also see new versions of the same things as you provide feedback on earlier playtests. And I think as of a week ago, and this was before it closed, the survey closed, so there was probably double this amount. but I think it was like 48,000 survey results. 48,000. So that's awesome, guys. That's awesome. Did a whole live stream on us going through the survey and you know, getting more people out and doing that, and I think that's so important because this is it. This is gonna be Dungeons and Dragons 5e or 5.5, the 1D&D, and unless we do something unless we say something about it. Okay. Backwards compatible. Thank you. It is backwards compatible. So future classes will be backwards compatible to these ones because of the tags and labels that we put on features instead of specifically class names. Thank you. I know you guys. I know you guys. You guys help me out a lot with words. Okay. So class group, let's see. This is all kind of parts of the class. So we have a primary ability for expertise. Like I said, for experts, they get expertise. That is the primary ability. It is confirmed later that warriors will have basically a fighting style, but the fighting style is changed to feats instead of just like different options that you have for fighting styles. You will choose a specific fighting style feat that has the prerequisite to be a warrior, or if you're a ranger, you can bypass that and have that even though you're not in a warrior group. You're an expert, so pretty cool. Creating a member of the class features, subclasses. I'm trying to hurry past anything that's not necessary. All three classes have new features. Great. When a class offers a decision, suggested choice is usually presented, especially at lower levels. This makes it easier to create characters quickly. They are kind of changing how the level of the subclasses works as well. Each class 20th level feature has been replaced. So now you get 20th level features at 18th level, opening up the 20th level for epic boons. Epic boons were in the Dungeon Master's Guide, I believe, and they're non-class specific. They're anything really, and it's basically an extra feat. Again, they have epic boons feats that will require a 20th level tag on it, or a 20th level requirement. And once they reach 20th level, then they get access to these special feats, epic boons. Pretty cool. Hope for Dr. Animal says that my hope for Scions to be a new group, to be honest, like a set of classes including half Scion. Oh, so maybe like a new tag with that? That'd be interesting. I mean, they can do that too, right? Or at least not just be the one and done power source, yeah. Phil Carney, probably 8 Wizard, 8 Cleric, 2 Artificer, 3 everything else. That makes sense. That makes sense. You're talking about subclasses, I assume, so that makes sense. Yeah, a Wizard will probably have the most, as it did in the last Player's Handbook. Seeing a lot of things turn into feats. I don't really quite get fighting styles being feats, to be honest, but I guess I can't find anything effective. Yeah. I like it. I like it because of these reasons. It simplifies the terms, right? One thing that I'm hoping to... let me say this. Every time a new player comes to my table and they level up, and especially if they're playing a spellcaster, I'm like, great, you learned you're level 3 now, you get access to level 2 spells. And they're like, hold on, I'm level 3, don't I get access to level 3 spells? Well, no, they work different, right? So there's a little bit of disconnect with some things here, where there are multiple different named features or multiple different mechanics that are at work that you kind of have to remember. So taking great boons, taking fighting styles, taking other things, and then just putting them all lumped into feats with prerequisites, that's one thing you're learning instead of like 3 different aspects you're learning. And I kind of like that because it's simplifying things. It's putting them all into one system and instead of having a bunch of systems, right? So that's kind of how I see it. So anyways, here is the Bard. So the Bard, you get the list of features here. Again, it's going to be a little bit different. So you have the Bards. You still get the Bard subclass at level 3, so good, backwards compatible again. But you get more at level 3, I believe. So, let's see, you have weapons, or you have proficiencies here. It looks pretty much the same. Hit points, great. Armor training, light armor. Oh, it's interesting that they take this out of this. Okay, this is why they're doing this as well. I did read it or listen to something about this. Where armor training, usually light armor or the armor training was armor proficiencies, and that was up here with this category. However, they found out, or they realized that armor is the only thing that doesn't add your proficiency bonus. And so they're like, why are we naming that proficiency if you don't get to include a proficiency bonus? So they want you, again, to clarify and say everything that is your proficiency, or everything that you're proficient at, includes your proficiency bonus, where your armor does not. It's not a proficiency, it's a training, I guess. And so armor training, they pulled that out for there at that point. Oh, no. Western Justice, are we lagging? You said you had to restart your phone because of all the buffering. If anyone else sees that we're lagging, it's green on my end, but if anyone thinks that we're lagging, maybe we can turn down the resolution or something, make it better. Yeah, making fighting styles into feats allows you to take more than you normally can. Yes, you can, and you will be able to. Yes, good point. Multiclassing and the Bard. So, how multiclassing? I think multiclassing is basically going to work the same way, except it's not really a optional rule. I mean, it still can be, but it's not labeled to be anymore. And you just have to have a 13 in the Bard's primary ability to level into the class. So this being charisma. So everyone has a primary ability. That's the word. Okay, bardic features. Oh, hold on. Here's a new thing for all the spellcasters as well. We're getting rid of basically spells, stagnant spells. So now, basically, anyone if you have spells, you can prepare them, right? So you repair spells from each of your classes individually, referring to the spell slots of an individual class to determine the number and spells that you prepare for it. I think that's what he was talking about there. Yeah, you prepare. So you're preparing spells now. So I think it's every long rest. I don't see if it's saying anything other than that, but every long rest you get to prepare your spells. And again, this is to fix a problem where people are leveling up in a bard, and because combat is usually the most dangerous, they're always picking combat spells, and they're not picking a lot of the spells that work in utility. And so they're saying, well, we don't want to force people or kind of gauge people to go a certain way. We want people to be open and explore a lot of spells and explore a lot of play styles. Doing that helps that, right? So every day, if you think you're going to get in a fight, you can get combat spells. If you're not going to be, you can prepare more utility stuff. So, or you're just me and I just prepare utility stuff no matter what. I'm more of a utility caster, if I'm being honest. I like to go places, and I like to be successful at going places. Everyone else can kill people. I'm great, that like at the end of the day, people are going to be dead. Let me help you fly across the cavern or identify an item. That's the stuff that really gets me. That's the stuff that gets me. Okay. Bardic Inspiration. You can use them in the following way. So it has changed. You no longer use it as a bonus action when another creature within 60 feet of you can see or hear that fails a d20 test, so they roll and they fail. You can use your reaction to give the creature a Bardic Inspiration die. The creature rolls that die and adds the number rolled to the d20, potentially turning the failure into success. Also really cool. So now that you as the bard have more power over your Bardic Inspiration, so instead of you giving them and they decide when they use it, you are deciding when it happens. And so to me, it's like, well, it's a little different because obviously you can give someone a Bardic Inspiration and then they can go into the next room or down the road a ways. Maybe they're not 60 feet of you anymore. Right? So in the old way, you can give somebody Bardic Inspiration, they can go 120 feet away, do the thing, and come back, and then use the Bardic Inspiration when they're gone. Here, you have to be within the vicinity in order to give them that inspiration. Not sure if I like that, but I see where they're going with giving the bard more power over their own abilities. But you can also heal. So immediately after another creature within 60 feet of you takes damage, you can use a reaction to roll a Bardic Inspiration die and restore a number of hit points. Also really cool. Along this road, we're going to skip ahead to the Songs of Restoration. So at second level, we get basically a bunch of healing spells. Okay. You get Songs of Restoration. You've learned how to use music, poetry, and to dance to heal wounds and maladies. When you reach certain levels in this class, you can add a specific spell to your Songs of Restoration repertoire, as shown as the Songs of Restoration table. You always have that spell prepared, and it does not count against your spell list, or your number of spells you can prepare. So you always have these as a bard. Which is interesting, because I'm like, if any class had these, it would be like, oh, well, the Cleric would probably get all of the healing spells, right? Even though I have said before that not all Clerics should get healing spells because their domain really isn't about healing. But if anyone got it, I would say the Cleric would. But it's interesting that, and maybe we haven't seen the new Cleric yet, so maybe they have something similar. But it's interesting that the Bard has that. And it's good. Like, overall, it's good. Like, you have extra spells. And these never go away. You always have them. So now Bard is even a better healer than before. So you can use a Bardic Inspiration die a lot, and then higher levels you get more. So here's the spell casting. So you have the following spells prepared. They always give you now a what's the word? Prepared spell list. So, if you are a new player, you don't know what spells to take, you can go to the prepared spell list and basically just take what they give you. They already basically have all of the spells laid out in every level of how many you can get and how many you need, and it will give you more of the iconic spells. So a lot of the ones that people choose, a lot of people, the spells that are well known, those kind of things, they will give you that as an option. That if you don't want to go looking, if you don't want to pick them out specifically, you can just grab the ones that they prepared for you, which is nice for new players. So, like this, so you have these spells, or you can choose yourself, right? And that's basically what that is. Any spell you prepare for this class must be an arcane spell, which we kind of went over last stream. And it must be from the following schools of magic, divination, enchantment, illusion, or transmutation. This is also interesting. So now, right, so a lot of people were worried, like, oh, well, now the Bard can get all of the wizard spells, and the wizard can get all of the Bard spells, now that it's all just under the umbrella of arcane. But now they're sanctioning it out into, you can only be from these schools of magic, or get spells from these schools of magic, and then that's the divider. That's the divider between these schools of magic. Do I like it? Abso-freaking-lutely not. I hate it. I hate it. Don't limit my school of magic. If I want to be a bard of necromancy, let me. Unless I'm reading it wrong. Let me sing the undead to life. Why can't I do that? Don't let this happen. Don't let this happen. So whenever you finish, let's read it and see if it changes. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can practice your bardic arts and replace any spell you prepared with the class with another arcane spell of the same level, abiding by the same school reflection above. Okay. At higher levels in this class, you can prepare more spells, as shown as the bard table. The numbers are determined by the number of different spells you can prepare for each level. Gives you an example. Consult the prepared spell list to help you out. Spell marked with a dagger in that section is always prepared and can't be replaced with another spell. The Bard table shows how many spell slots you have at each level to cast your Bard spells at first level higher. I'm not saying anything else. Spellcasting abilities, charisma, spell focus is a musical instrument. I think that we should get away from musical instrument because not all Bards need one. And Bards is more than just a musician. Bard is more than just a musician. So far, I am really disliking the flavor of the Bard. I like the mechanics. I like the mechanics here. It's fine. This is fine. Although again, I kind of liked it before. The spell casting, get rid of this. Delete that. Gross. I will forever fight that. And then okay, but going on because that's all I want to say about that. Expertise. You get expertise again because you are an expert. Then you get your Bard subclass at 3rd level. Feat at 4th level. 5th level, Jack of all trades. I think that's the same thing. Yeah, add half your proficiency bonus. 6th level subclass feature. 7th level, Font of Inspiration. You can you now regain all of your expended uses of Bardic Inspiration when you finish a short or long rest. 8th level feat. 9th level expertise and 2 more. 10th level subclass, 11th level magical secrets. So here's the change here. You've collected magical knowledge from a wide spectrum of disciplines. Choose a spell list, arcane, divine, or primal. Whenever you prepare spells for this this class, up to 2 of the spells you prepare can be from the chosen list and from any schools of magic. Finally! So finally at 11th level, I can get some spells to make me a necromancy bard. Come on! I want to be a bard of tragedy, a bard of death. Let me be that. Ah. The bard spells otherwise follow the rules of the bard spellcasting feature, of course. Okay, 12th level feat, 14th level subclass feature, and then 15th level further magical secrets. You can do the same thing. 16th level feat, 18th level superior bardic inspiration. So when you roll initiative, you regain 2 expended uses of your inspiration. I still think this can be better for 18th level. I still think this can be better. 19th level feat, and then 20th level epic boon. And we kind of did that before. So, and then again, here's the prepared bard spell list. So just kind of, I mean, you can kind of pause it and look at it there. But at each level, they give you basically what to get, and you can grab that. You can either, or you can say like, oh, I like this one, but I'll change this one into something else. Pretty cool. All right, the College of Lore. So they changed this a little bit as well. So you get extra proficiencies, cutting words. So you basically have the bardic inspiration for using your reaction now to roll against or deduct their roll. And then at 6th level, you can roll the die twice whenever you roll your bardic inspiration, which is kind of cool. Improved cutting words gives them damage dice when you use your cutting words. So it's very, very cunning. Very cutting and cutting. And then Peerless Skill, when you make an ability check and fail, you can expend a use of Bardic Inspiration, roll the Bardic Inspiration die, and then add the number to the ability check. So you can use it on yourself, which is nice. And then there was something where if you rolled a 1, I think I went over it. When you roll a 1 on the dice, then it doesn't expend your Bardic Inspiration. Where is that? It's somewhere. It's somewhere in this. It's somewhere. You can take my word for it. It's somewhere in there. If you roll a 1 on your Bardic... someone rolls a 1 while having Bardic Inspiration, then it does not expend it, I think. Yeah, that's definitely it. Okay, going on to the Ranger. I'm excited for this, guys. I'm excited for this one because it's got a lot of cool stuff. And in my opinion, a lot better than the Bard. Sorry. I try to be very positive on this, but I'm a little angry at the spellcasting mechanic. Okay, Ranger, I joked on Twitter saying that I'm going to change my my channel name to the Ranger Room, which is nice. Yeah, rules and rulings. Hey, welcome to the chat. A tragedy or spirits bard might get you to prepare necromancy spells. Yeah, I mean, if there's a subclass that allows you to do that, great, right? But still, if they don't have it, you can't do it, right? Which is kind of the problem. Which is, I think always kind of been a problem, but of course there's homebrew. But here's the thing is, you have to make that on D&D Beyond. You have to upload it. You have to create the homebrew. You have to do all this stuff and make sure that it does what you want to do. And when it comes to base classes, you can't change that. And so the base class will, if they implement it into the mechanics or the back end of D&D Beyond, you won't be able to use that on D&D Beyond. And I think that's sad. So, anyways, Ranger. You get all these hit points, proficiencies, simple stuff, armor training, starting equipment, multiclassing. I think it's dexterity and wisdom is the primary abilities. Spell slots. Determine available spell slots. What does it say on spells for this one? Okay, any spell you prepare from this class, and it can be from any school of magic except evocation. So dumb. That's so dumb. What? Why? If you're a ranger, you want to be a hard hitter. A lot of ranger archetypes are hard hitters from far away. What? Evocation? Okay. Anyways, guys, you can see me getting more and more frustrated about this. I need to stop. Okay. Favorite enemy. Also, this is a good thing. This is a good thing. So, favorite enemy. You are adept at focusing your ire on a single foe. You could always have the Hunter's Mark spell prepared, and it doesn't count against your number of spells. Moreover, you don't have to concentrate it on it, which is great. And then it lasts for your full duration until you use a bonus action or until you're incapacitated. Then it nicks. So, awesome. So, it's a part of your class now. You get Hunter's Mark, which is also kind of cool because they left Hunter's Mark a spell instead of a feature, so potentially other people can grab it as well, which is also awesome. Top tier. But it also has a list, I think, that you can take from, prepared ranger spells, just like before. How are we doing on time? Okay, we're doing okay. Fighting style. This is where you get the fighting style feats. We covered that. Subclasses will appear and feature Unearthed Arcanas. So then we get 4th level feat, extra attack, subclass feature, roving. Your speed increases by 10 feet while you aren't wearing heavy armor, which is awesome. Then you also have the climb speed and swim speed equal to your speed. Also awesome. You have expertise in more than, in 2 more of your classes, or your abilities, sorry. Then you get tireless, which is at 11th level. You get whenever you finish a short rest or long rest, you can give yourself a number of temporary hit points equal to 1d8 plus your proficiency bonus, and then decrease exhaustion, where you can recover an exhaustion with a short rest. Also awesome. There have been so many different iterations of the Ranger, and so hopefully we can just nail it in the butt for this 5.5 and get really excited for the new version. Nature's Veil, you basically go invisible as a bonus action, which is awesome. The Furbolg gets that as like a racial feature, though. Maybe that could be a little bit better. Subclass feature, Feral Senses. You get a blind sight of a range of 30 feet. Also really cool. Foe Slayer. Hunter's Mark now does a D10 instead of damage to a target rather than an extra D6. Yep. And then your epic boon at the end. Ranger spells. Okay, here's the Hunter. Dr. Anvil, let's see. Honestly, I get the idea of limiting schools, but not on the current class layout of 5e. If you want to limit access to schools, you need to design the classes from the ground up for it. Yeah, I don't think it fits. I really don't think. Honestly, you can limit spell lists if it's a different feature. Like if it's a subclass feature. If it's a subclass feature, then it's saying like, hey, you have access to now a different spell list, but now you can only take from this and this and this school. That's fine, right? Because that's flavor of the subclass at that point. Where this is the base class. This is the base class. You haven't even put the flavor on it. Don't limit it. Limit it in the subclasses, right? Where you have the extra features and things like that that tone in that flavor, not the base class. Not the base class. Sorry. Hunter's Prey. Your tenacity can wear down even the most resilient foes when you hit a creature with a weapon or unarmed strike. As part of an attack action on your turn, the weapon or unarmed strike deals an extra 1d8 damage to the target if it's missing any of its hit points. Pretty cool. You can deal this extra damage only once per turn. Awesome. So Hunter's Lore. If you call on the forces of nature to reveal certain strengths and weaknesses of your prey while a marked creature is marked by your Hunter's Mark, you know whether the creature has any immunities, resistances, vulnerabilities, and if the creature has any, you know what they are. I love that. So you know, because you're a hunter, you're a ranger, you know creatures like the back of your hand, you've studied them, or even if you're in the midst of studying a new creature, you can kind of tell with your expertise of what they're made out of, what's going to be good against them, and things like that. I'm hoping that they give monsters more vulnerabilities, because right now I would rather people make attacks and make decisions according to a monster to know. Just making decisions to fight it, what will be good against it, instead of just not using what not is going to be good against it. Does that make sense? I want to be able to figure out what's going to put me on top, instead of just not using what's going to put me under. Right now, like most things just have resistances, no vulnerabilities, so you'll just know not to use some things but you'll never know really what to use in most cases. So hopefully they'll bring that to some more monsters in the future. But that's what I have to say about that. Multi-attack, awesome. You also now always have Conjure Barrage prepared, and this is also a really interesting thing that I'm excited to see what happens. Doesn't account against your number of spells, but you can also cast a spell with a first and second level spell slots. When you do, the spell's damage is reduced for 1d8 spell slot below third. So Conjure Barrage is a third level spell. Now you can use it with a second and first level spell slot, which is pretty cool. And they're saying that this is going to be for other spells as well, which is also really cool because you won't get Conjure Barrage until you're like 6th, 7th, or yeah, actually in this case, yeah, 10th level. You won't get it until then, so you won't be able to cast this spell at lower levels until you reach a high enough level to get the spell. So there's still a waiting for this feature, but now you can use lower level spell slots for those things, and I love that because spells and magic should be malleable. It should be, you know, like changed with the caster. Caster can change like the arcane sigils or the math behind it in a way that they can use it in a slightly different way than they know. And I think that would be perfect. They can upcast and now they can downcast. Pretty cool. I'd like a reduction on how many things are just blanket resistance to non-magical damage too. Yeah. Matthew Sinclair, welcome to the chat. This really shifts the ranger's flavor from an expert hunter who sometimes uses magic to a character who's a lot more spiritually in tune with nature. Yep, it does. Let's see. Actually, yeah. So, okay, then we got Superior Hunter's Defense. When you're hit by an attack roll, you can use a reaction to have the attack's damage against yourself. Pretty cool. And you can redirect the other half of damage to one creature. Oh, dang. Oh, that's pretty cool. Wait, so as far as... Hold on. Okay, we have favorite enemy. Are we missing something? No, favorite terrain was replaced with tireless in the last one. Okay, I think we're good. Okay. Hunter, we're good to go. Rogue, here we go. Creating a rogue. There's all that. Light armor is the dexterity, at least 13 is the primary ability. You get expertise, and then sneak attack. You know how, I think it works the same. You know how to turn a subtle attack into a deadly one. Once per turn, you take the attack action. You deal extra damage when you hit. If you're attacking with a finesse weapon or ranged weapon, if at least one of the following requirements is met. So if you have advantage on the roll, or you have an ally adjacent to the target, which is nice. And then to determine the extra damage, roll a number of d6s equal to half your rogue level. Oh, that's kind of cool. It shows the number of sneak attack dice you get at each rogue level of the attack. Is that how it always been? Maybe I just haven't seen that wording. And the extra damage type is the same as the weapons damage type. So thieves can't... That actually might be an interesting little play there if you have a weapon that does not do any, like, physical damage. Thieves can't. And then you get an extra language with that as well. Cunning action, your quick thinking and agility allow you to move and act quickly. On your turn, you get the regular dash, disengage, and hide. Then your rogue subclass stuff. Feats, uncanny dodge. Same. Expertise, same. Evasion, same. Reliable talent, same. Subtle strikes. When you have an attack action, you know how to exploit a target's distraction. You have advantage on any attack roll that targets a creature that's within 5 feet of... If you have an ally within 5 feet of you and the enemy, you get advantage on the hit. Basically, it's letting you get sneak attack off more often now. Saying that, hey, you're 13th level, you've practiced the sneak attack, you're pretty good at exploiting things, exploiting soft spots, so you can do it a lot easier now. Which is thematic. It's definitely, stronger for the rogue to have, but it's thematic, and it's great. It's basically pack tactics, in a way. It's giving you pack tactics. Slippery mind, your cunning mind is exceptionally difficult to control. You have proficiency in wisdom and charisma saving throws. I don't think that fits a rogue, really. But I guess that makes sense. Like, if it's a captured Spy, you know, obviously they're pretty good at like resisting telling the truth. So yeah, no, that I fixed myself. I stopped myself with that one. That does fit. Okay. Then you have elusive. If you are so evasive that attackers rarely gain the upper hand, you have no advantage against you. Then stroke of luck. You have an uncanny knack for succeeding when you need to. If you fail a d20 test, you can turn the roll into a 20. Is that a natural 20? Or no, just a 20. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again. And then the epic boon at the end. So there's the rogue subclass. There's a thief. Warning now, I will have negative opinions on this too. But it'll be less negative than how I think they are handling the spell list right now. I will have words when the survey comes out, so stay tuned for that next month. You can get sneak attack with a nearby ally already. This just helps mitigate advantage or adds on the advantage. Yeah. You always, if someone is there, yes, you always get sneak attack. This just gives you advantage on the attack, so you'll hit more often, getting your sneak attack often out more, if that makes sense. All right, you have fast hands. You can take the search action, which is a new action. So it's basically an action that involves some sort of check. We can look at it later, I think. But essentially, there are two new types of actions: a search action and then a social action. That's not the name for it, but it's a social action. And basically, you take that action, you say what you're gonna do, and then the DM has you roll. So basically, it's the same as before. It's not really new. It's just a word for it. You take the search action to as a bonus action. And then sleight of hand, make a dexterity check. I don't know if that probably didn't make sense to any of you guys. I'm sorry. We'll get to search action in a little bit. Make a dexterity check, sleight of hand to pick a lock or disarm a trap. Thief tools as a bonus action. It's pretty cool. Second story work, climb speed, and jump distance, which is also awesome. Supreme sneak, advantage on dexterity checks of stealth when you make, providing you aren't wearing medium or heavy armor. So these are really good at sneaking around. 10th level. Get rid of it. In your treasure hunting, you have learned to maximize the use of magic items, granting you the following benefits. Where in this subclass gave you, like, is this pointing toward magic items? I mean, sure, you're stealing stuff, but if you go your entire, I did a whole video in my narrative leveling video where I go over like problems and of subclasses not informing a certain narrative and how to change those. It's my narrative leveling video. Check that out. But if I go my whole rogue lifespan up to 10th level, never having interacted with a magic item in the campaign, and then all of a sudden I can attune to another one, and then I can use it without expending charges, that does not make sense. It's yes, rules and rulings. It's the search action being codified is what's new. Absolutely. I think your magic device is a holdover from previous editions. It is. It is the same. It's basically the same thing that the last thief had. They're just interacting with magic items better. So they're just pulling that over and doing the same thing. I just think that it should be different. Honestly, it's a great feature. It's a very good and helpful feature. They said that it's kind of like them cheating the system. So they're cheating a magic item attunement with attuning to another one, and they're cheating the item by not having to use an expended slot in it. So they're cheating, right? Which is, yeah, thematic. But this should be done with an arcane trickster rogue. That's where this should be. This should be like a spell casting or magic rogue. Not here. Yeah. And then you can use any spell scroll that bears a cantrip of first spell level. Again, why is it here? This should be the arcane rogue or arcane affiliate. Now, the thief rogue has two things coming together. Two things. It has a magic subclass it's trying to do, and then a thief subclass it's trying to do, and they're pushing it together, and it's cutting the subclass in half, and it doesn't make sense to me. Obviously, if you love this and this is great for you, take it, use it. Love it. I'm not the only opinion here, right? So if this comes out, awesome. Like, you can play it and it's great. I won't complain about it. But I won't play it. I won't do it. So that's it. But again, it's good, great features, great balance. I think they're fun. And then lastly, 14th level, you have Thieves Reflexes, where you can take a second bonus action on your turn, providing it is the bonus action for cunning action. You can use this feature on a number of turns equal to your proficiency bonus. You regain all expended use when you finish a long rest. I like this for one reason that maybe you haven't thought of. So if you look at the fighter, right, a big thing that we know about the fighter is that they get an extra action with their oh shoot, I'm forgetting the title of the ability. They get an extra action, right? In one of their abilities, they get an extra action. Here, as a rogue, you get an extra bonus action. And I think that's cool. I think that this should be in the regular class. I think that should be in the base class, because it'd be awesome if fighters dominated the action, rogues dominated the bonus action, and the monk dominated the reaction. And you get bonus reactions. And then there we go. We have like 3 fighters that really help in the action economy, because as fighters, that's something that can really improve on them and help them have an identity, is improving on the action economy. A barbarian is just really good at, maybe within the attacks, or barbarian is just doing a lot of damage, and I feel like barbarian just has their niche. They're just really good at tanking. And they're good at pulling actions away from other characters, right? So this I think is cool. I think it should be in the base class, but I think that this is a cool focus, and I'm hoping that they kind of bring that to the monk as well. And I just think it's a cool aspect. Cool. Whew! All right, going to feats. With us kind of running out of time, I'm going to go to maybe the more popular ones. Because again, you can find this online, you can read it yourself. There is some big changes for a lot of them, but it's basically the same flavor, just updated. Some really special ones is a dual wielder. So enhanced dual wielding, when you are holding a weapon with a light property in one hand, you can treat a non-light weapon in the other hand as if it had light property, provided that the weapon lacks the two-handed property. Quick draw, you can draw or stow 2 weapons that lack the two-handed weapon property, and you would normally be able to draw or stow only 1. A cool thing about dual wielder is now it's somewhere in this thing. I don't bother to find it, but dual wielding has gotten a buff. It's been gotten a buff. So when you have one weapon in one hand and another weapon in one hand, they both got to be light weapons. How it's worked before is you attack with your attack action. And then if you did that, you can use your bonus action to attack with the other one. Now, it's you attack with one as your action, and then you attack with your other hand for free. So your bonus action isn't used. And they did this because they thought that the bonus action was competing a lot with other bonus actions in the game, because there is a lot. If you're a rogue, you can dodge, disengage, dash, all those things. It was competing for those things that the rogue did. And so with Rogue and Ranger specifically being people who do a lot of dual wielding, that's a buff. So now they can use their action, use their side piece, their other weapon, in the same action, right? They still can't use their bonus on the second hand. They still can't use their bonus, meaning it'll just be the flat dice roll, where the first one is the dice roll and the bonus on top of that, but that's how it works, right? So pretty cool. Crossbow excerpt is another one that they've changed. So they ignore loading property on crossbows. The firing in melee, being 5 feet within an enemy, doesn't cause disadvantage. And then dual wielding, when you make an extra attack of the light weapon property, you can add your ability modifier to the damage of the extra attack if that attack is with the crossbow. Pretty cool. Actually, there's another one that I really want to show you guys. Oh, but first we got to look at the epic boons, right? So 20th level feat. So a 20th level is the prerequisite. We got combat prowess. When you miss, and I want to read these because I think they're fun, and we'll kind of go over, right? So we're not super hard on top, but we'll go over. When you miss with a melee attack, you can hit instead. Pretty self-explanatory. Once you use this benefit, you can't use it again until you roll initiative. Dimensional travel. I like these boons because, again, they're flavor. Instead of something that you're stuck with at 20th level, this is a culmination of something that you've worked on your entire career, right? So if you've worked on like, the magic of dimensions, then at 20th level, you get this. You can cast the Misty Step spell without expending a spell slot. Once you use this benefit, you can't use it again until you roll initiative or finish a short or long rest. It's 20th level. Give us Misty Step forever. every bonus action you can cast Misty Step. At 20th level, I think that'd be cool. I think at Epic Boons, I will probably just create my own. If a character doesn't want specifically one of these, I'd be like, okay, your whole career, you focused on these things. I want to give you something big, something huge, something that'll rock your socks off, right? Something that will be specifically special to that character. I think would be really, really cool. Yeah, dimensional travel has always felt lackluster for an epic boon. Yeah, that's fair. But then again, a lot of 20th level features in the or capstone features of I say previous edition. The edition we're in now has been kind of lackluster as well. Energy resistance. You gain resistance to one of the following damage types. Whenever you finish a short or long rest, you can change that damage type. It's pretty interesting. Fortitude. I think these are, and I'll be honest, I don't think I've ever looked at the epic boons closely. I've read them before, but I don't remember them. Your hit points maximum increases by 40. In addition, whenever you... Oh, that's nice. You gain hit points, you can regain additional hit points equal to your Constitution modifier. You regain these additional hit points no more than once per round. Pretty cool. Irresistible offense. The damage you deal always ignores resistance. That's nice. Boon of Luck. Immediately after you roll a d20 for a d20 test, you can roll a d10 and add the number rolled to a test. Once you use this benefit, you can't use it again until you roll initiative or finish or short or long rest. Seems like initiative is very prevalent in these epic boons. While within dim light or darkness, you can become invisible as an action. You remain invisible until immediately after you take an action or reaction. Western Justice, where can I find this on Google, but I can't find it. It's all on D&D Beyond. So I went over at the beginning, if you rewind at the beginning of the live stream, I showed you a couple ways that you could get there. But it's on D&D Beyond. Epic Boon of Peerless Aim. If you make a ranged attack against a target in range and miss, as opposed to out of range, you can cause the attack to hit instead. So kind of like the first one that we saw. Recovery. This you can use a bonus action to regain a number of hit points equal to half your hit point maximum. Ooh, wow. Once you use this benefit, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. Pretty good, though. In addition, you succeed on every death saving throw that isn't a roll of 1. That's good. That's good. It's all your undead stuff, people, too. Boon of Skill Proficiency. You gain proficiency in all skills. Boon of Epic Speed, increased by 30 feet. Boon of Undetectability. You can't be seen or heard by means magical or non-magical while you are hidden. That's a cool rogue ability. Epic Boon of the Unfettered. A bonus action, you can take the disengage action, which also ends a grapple, and the restrain conditions on you. Pretty good. Could be better. Fighting style, archery. Oh, these are the fighting styles. Okay. So again, yeah, fighting style, archery. So you have to have a fighting style ability in order to choose these feats. But it's basically the same thing, right? We got defense, dueling, archery, 2-weapon fighting, kind of what we're familiar with. And then here's the change. When you make an extra attack with a light weapon property, you can add your ability modifier to the damage of the extra attack. So now, again, like I said, first attack, roll, and bonus. Second attack, roll, and bonus. Let's continue on. Great Weapon Master. So they're getting rid of the -5 plus 10 thing for the great weapon stuff. So immediately after you score a critical hit with a melee weapon or reduce a creature to 0 hit points with 1, you can make one attack with the same weapon as a bonus action. Heavy Weapon Mastery. When you hit a creature with a heavy weapon as part of the attack action on a turn, you can cause the weapon to deal extra damage to the target. The extra damage equals your proficiency bonus, and you can deal it only once per turn. Keen Mind. You can take the study action as a bonus action. We'll get to it. We'll get to that. We'll take a study action as a bonus action. Rogue can already do that, so maybe the Keen Mind isn't great for rogues. But you also get to choose one of the following skills and get expertise in it. So another way to get expertise in things. Heavy Armor Master. Oh, something, damage reduction when you're hit by an attack while you're wearing heavy armor. Any bludgeoning, piercing, slashing damage dealt to you by that attack is reduced by an amount equal to your proficiency bonus. So -6 at level 20. You know, saying that if you've had this for a while, it's pretty good. Okay. Yes, so Dr. Anvil has it right. When you reach level 20, you get this extra boon, and you can continue to get extra boons later. You don't like level up, but you can continue to get extra like bonus boons every time like you would level up, or the DM just decides to give you those boons essentially. Yeah, heavy armor is fun. Heavy armor is fun. A lot of the the like heavily armored, the heavy armor master, the great weapon master, all of those things I don't use a lot, so I'm less familiar with them because I'm always playing a spellcaster. I don't play like melee stuff. Although I want to play a paladin pretty soon here. Yeah, heavily armored, you gain heavy armor training instead of proficiency. Just seeing that there again. Let's see. We've actually made it pretty far, guys. I'm impressed. Mage Slayer. Also, when you damage a creature that is concentrating, it has disadvantage on the saving throw. That's familiar. If you fail an intelligence, wisdom, charisma saving throw, you can cause yourself to succeed instead. This is like a legendary resistance for you, which is also really cool. Once you use this benefit, you can't use it again until after you finish a long rest. I always thought that's interesting. Honestly, I would make an epic boon that gives your players legendary resistances. I would make that an epic boon, and I think that would be really fun. Observant. You choose one of the following. You get expertise in it. Search action is a bonus action as well here. Okay, here's the dirts. Here's the deets and the something that might be pretty polarizing for people. But with the Polar Master has changed, and with that, the Sentinel has changed. So people can't do the combo that they usually do, where they stop somebody like 10 feet away from them with Sentinel and Polearm, like with the reach and stopping them, so they never like land a hit. So, anyways, this is how it goes. Polearm Strike. Immediately after you take the attack action and attack with a weapon that has the heavy and reach properties, you can take a bonus action to make a melee attack with the opposite end of the weapon. Also cool flavor. The weapon's damage die for this attack is a d4 and it deals bludgeoning damage. Reactive Strike. When you're holding a weapon that has a heavy and reach properties, you can use a reaction to make one melee attack against a creature that enters the reach that you have with that weapon, right? So you can still reach with it, still 10 minutes or 10 feet away, you can still hit people. However, the change with Sentinel, instead of getting hit and being able to stop them, it says immediately after a creature within 5 feet of you takes the disengage action or hits a target other than you with an attack, you can make an opportunity attack against that creature. So it has to be within 5 feet of you. I think that's it. If I'm getting that wrong, I might get that wrong, but I think that's what the change is. I'm pretty sure that's what the change is. And then whenever you hit a creature with an opportunity attack, the creature's speed becomes 0 for the rest of the turn. Also awesome. Also awesome. Let's see, what's another one? Ooh, Ritual Caster. This one's a fun one. You can choose 2 level spells that have ritual attack from the Arcane, Divine, and Primal spell list. You always have those 2 spells prepared, and you can cast them with any spell slots that you have. The spell's spellcasting ability is the ability increased by this feat. So it's a Ritual Caster. You can cast the rituals with spell slots that you have. So you're thinking like, oh, well maybe that's just for spellcasters. Probably not going to have it on my my melee fighter. But here's the thing: they're trying to make all the feats playable by everybody. So the next feature in that one is Quick Ritual, where you can still use the ritual as its normal casting time once per long rest. Pretty cool. So it doesn't require a spell slot in doing so, but you cast it normally instead of waiting the extra 10 minutes where you usually interact with a ritual spell. So you'd still be able to use that naturally with a melee caster who has no spell casting abilities. Pretty cool. Yeah, Sentinel Change is a clean solution, yeah. I mean, again, like, I never did this. I never had to ban it in my table. If I ever had someone say, hey, I want to take Polearm Master and Sentinel, I probably would have told them no. Just on the basis that, like, hey, you can be more creative than it's been overdone, and that's no fun if no one's attacking anything, right? For me as a DM. Obviously, you as a DM, you need to have fun, too. but I do think that it's a great... So I'm happy with the change, and I would keep this, for sure. Sharpshooter, also getting rid of the -5 plus 10. Your ranged attack with... Oh. Yeah. Your ranged attack with weapons ignore half cover and 3/4 cover. Being within 5 feet of enemy doesn't impose disadvantage on your ranged attack with weapons. And then attacking at long range doesn't impose disadvantage on your ranged attack rolls with weapons. Also awesome. Shield Master. This is a cool one. If you attack a creature within 5 feet of you as part of the attack action and hit with a melee weapon, you immediately can bash the target, right? So it's kind of like an offhand weapon like we talked about. If it's equipped, so you're attacking with one hand and then bashing with the other as part of the attack action, you force the target to make a strength saving throw against your DC, and then they are knocked prone or pushed 5 feet away. So you can knock them prone after your first, if you have like multi-attack, you can attack on the first one, knock them prone, and then for the rest of your multi-attacks, you can have advantage on the attack, which is also cool. If you are subjected to interposed shield, if you are subject to an effect that allows you to make a dexterity saving throw, only take half damage, you can use the reaction to take no damage if you succeed on the saving throw and are wielding a shield, interposing your shield between yourself and the source of the effect. So that's cool. So kind of getting like a roguelike ability, but flavoring it to be more a shield instead of dodging out of the way. Spell Sniper has something interesting. Or was it Warcaster? I can't remember. Hold on. So a Spell Sniper, your attack rolls, it's for spells ignore cover. Being in 5 feet doesn't give you disadvantage. And when you cast a spell that has a range of 10 feet and that requires you to make an attack roll, or at least 10 feet, you can increase the spell's range by 60 feet. That's cool. I like that a lot. So I think before Spell Sniper was like doubling it, or no, or was I thinking about the meta magic? Either way, that's how it is. Warcaster, concentration, same thing. React to spell. When a creature provokes an opportunity attack, moving out of reach, you can reaction cast a spell rather than making an opportunity attack. Spell must have a casting time of 1 action and must target only that creature. It also gives you somatic weapons. You can perform the somatic components of spells even when you have weapons or shield in one or both hands. That's also really nice. Weapon training instead of weapon proficiency again. And then the spell lists. What do we have? So we have the spell list here, and then what else do we have below that? Or is this it? Oh, we have a rules glossary. We want to check out the rules glossary. But let's look at the spells real quick. We might get through all of this, guys. We might get through all of this. Can I use Sentinel on Eldritch Blast instead? Ooh, can you? Immediately after a creature within 5 feet of you takes the disengage or hits a target other than you with an attack, you can make an opportunity against that creature. Maybe if you have Sentinel and Spell Sniper, and Warcaster, when a creature provokes an opportunity attack from you by moving out of your reach. So it has that. What's the word? It has that wording by moving out of your reach. So it can't be used that rather than making. Looking back at the Sentinel. Oh, no. You can halt them. So when you hit a creature with an opportunity attack, so this is separate than Guardian, this creature's speed becomes 0 for the rest of the turn. So, if a creature moves away from you, you can use Eldritch Blast and halt them. Am I right, guys? That's cool. Ho ho ho. Well, we just made a bunch of warlocks. A lot of people making that warlock for the playtest. Okay, so basically what it's giving here is a spell list from in the last Unearthed Arcana. It gave us a spell list, but I think only the first to third level spells, if not just the first one. And it gave us only those in those. This gives us from 1 to 9. So as you've noticed, the arcane spells 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It gives you all of those spells. We won't go over all of them, but they're you can see them. Each with the School of Magic and a Ritual Tag or Not. And if you think this is also a good opportunity, if you think that some spells should have ritual casting, mark them down and give them a shout out in the survey next month. So divine spells, and then the last one is the primal spells. Oh, they only have 4? That's interesting. I thought they had more. Okay, here's rules glossary. So here are some things that we talked about before. We talked about ability checks, skills, difficulty class. Let's see if there's any changes here, because I didn't get to this in the other videos that I watched. Making an ability check requires you to take an action unless a rule otherwise says. Yep, makes sense. Several of the named actions, such as hide or influence. Oh yeah, the influence. That's the other one. So there is the search action and the influence action. That's the other one. Not social action, influence action. Difficulty class, DC check. The default DC for a check is 15, and it is rarely worth calling for an ability check if the DC is lower than 5, as low as 5, unless the potential failure has narratively interesting. I've done that before, right? I'm like, hey, roll, see if you get a natural 1. If it's not a natural 1, you're all good, but if it's a natural 1, we'll see some stuff, right? Things will happen. Okay, artisan tools are a category of tool with which a character can gain tool proficiency. We saw that in the last one. Equipping weapons, you can equip or unequip one weapon before or after any attack as you make as part of this action. Wait, what? You can equip or unequip one weapon before or after any attack you make as part of this action, even if the attack is with an unarmed strike. So it's a free action, right? But essentially it's just doing it as part of your attack action. So you can't unequipped or equipped if you're not taking the attack action? I guess that kind of makes sense. I mean, you wouldn't be shuffling weapons if you weren't attacking. Moving between attack. If you move on your turn, you can use some or all of that movement to move between the attacks of this act. You can use some or all of that movement to move between the attacks of this action if you have a feature such as extra attack that gives you more than one attack. That's worded weird, but I get it. Okay. Attack rolls. Oh, we got spells. So these are changes to some spells. We have Bark Skin. So this has changed. So instead of giving like an AC boost, people are like, as Bark Skin, as a ranger, you're never going to use it because your AC is already just as high. So instead, this gives you temporary hit points, which is a nice quality of life. Blind Sight, same, I think. You can effectively see anything that isn't behind total cover, even if you're blinded or in darkness. Yep. Climb speed, you can be used to move on a vertical surface without expending the extra movement normally associated with climbing. Yep. So these are just basically regular what we have already. If I'm missing anything that's different, let me know. Oh, is Eldritch Blast not on the list? Hold on, we'll check. Eldritch Blast might not be on the spell list. Let's see. If you have a difficult terrain, every foot of movement in that space costs 1 extra foot. Yeah, that's what we have already. Oh, but it gives us like option or like examples for difficult terrain, which is nice. Creature that isn't tiny, furniture that is small or larger, heavy snow, heavy undergrowth, ice. Liquid that's between thin, waist deep, or shin and waist deep. Any deeper as you need to swim. Narrow opening that is size for a creature smaller. Pit or another gap of 2 to 5 feet. Rubble and slope of 20 degrees. Oh, interesting. Slope of 20 degrees or more. I assume that's upwards. Downwards, it might not be difficult to like move downwards. But you might be right. Let's look at the spell list for the arcane. Here's the cantrips, and there is no Eldritch Blast. No Eldritch Blast. So, which is kind of good because then they won't give Eldritch Blast to everyone, and also kind of good because the Eldritch Blast will now just probably be a feature of Warlock, kind of like Hunter's Mark was a feature of Ranger, and just be part of the class. And that keeps a lot of people from stealing that very OP spell or cantrip, right? Matthew Sinclair, I wonder why they included a new Bark skin and not True Strike. Hey, there are a plethora of new UA coming out. It's bound to show up in one. It's bound to. Fly speed, divine spells, exhausted, grappled, guidance. Oh, guidance has changed as well. So I think that this is good, and I'll tell you guys why. So you channel the magic insight to the creature who failed an ability check. That creature can roll a d4 and add the number rolled to the check, potentially turning it into a success. So it's when they fail, instead of you just using it, and then it's a concentration until they do. I don't think it is instantaneous. It's no longer a concentration, and it is a reaction instead of an action, I believe it was. And it's a 30 feet range. So you do that, and then once the creature rolls a die for the spell, that creature cannot benefit from the spell again until the creature finishes a long rest. I think this is kind of needed. As a cleric main myself, there is too much spamming of guidance going on. There is. It's rules and rulings. UA number 27. Here are 53 different versions of True Strike. Figure it out. There are a lot of people who have homebrewed True Strike, which is fine. But me as a cleric, I know that I've spammed guidance. I see guidance spamming all the time. Basically, with guidance, you just guidance, and so at some tables, basically people just say like, hey, if someone has guidance, now everyone just has an extra d4 on all of their ability checks. So you don't have to say guidance every single time, because sometimes that can be annoying. But this time it says, hey, you can use it on one creature once per day. I would say that maybe this should be like a short rest, maybe not a long rest. Maybe that's a little too much. Rules and rulings, I think, disagrees with me. I think you wanted to get rid of this entirely, but it's on a reaction instead. So, anyways, there's not much to be said about that. I just like the change. We have hidden, help, hide, heroic inspiration, gaining heroic inspiration. Guys, I don't think they listened, because I think that they didn't look at they haven't looked at all the survey results yet. If you remember, we said something specifically in the last survey, and they changed it here, right? So when a player rolls a character rolls a 1 for a d20 test, whenever they roll a d20 and they roll a 1, that 1 must be the d20 used for the test total, right? So if Halfling rolls a 1 and then re-rolls it, they don't get inspiration. But if it rolls a 1 and that's what they use, they do get an inspiration now. Yep. And then it represents the character's resolve to do better after fumbling an attempt. So much more flavorful. Yes, keep it. Yes, keep it. I'm using that currently in my home game now. We do that now. We do that. And I love it. And they seem to like it. Although last game they kind of had a TPK. They thought that they had a TPK. But tune in next week, and you know there was a failsafe that I had put in there, not because I was a merciful DM, no, but it was just like flavor and a very arcane secret in the area that happened that kept them from dying, but it was essentially a TPK. Anyways, I don't know why I'm telling you that. Only one at a time. You can never have more than one instance of heroic inspiration. If something gives you heroic inspiration, you already have it, you can give it to another player. Here we go. Here's the influence action. So the influence action, you can try to influence another creature to do something you request or demand. This action can be used only on creatures controlled by the DM, and it isn't mind control, right? So you can't force someone to do something. But the action has 3 main parts: attitude, interaction, and charisma check. Very interesting. Attitude. The creature's attitude determines how the character can influence that creature. Each DM controlled the creature has one of the following attitudes toward the player characters. So I think a lot of this is good. I think a lot of this is good to kind of help DMs figure out how this is supposed to work. But also me as a DM, I'm thinking like, oh, well, if they just wanted to roll a persuasion check, they can just do that. And then I know kind of the mindset of the NPC on whether they would most likely do that or not. And that's essentially what this is, right? So, for example, indifferent, this is the attitude of an attitude for DM-controlled teachers. Indifferent creature might help or hinder the party depending on what the creature sees as most beneficial. A creature's indifference doesn't necessarily make it standoffish or disinterested. Indifferent creatures might be polite and genial, surly and or irritable, or anything in between. A successful charisma check is often necessary when the adventurers try to persuade an indifferent creature to do something. Friendly creature wants to help the adventurers and wishes for them to succeed. For tasks and actions that require no particular risk, effort, or cost, friendly creatures often help happily. If an element of personal risk is involved, then you roll a check. Hostile creatures oppose the adventurers and their goals, but doesn't necessarily attack them on sight. I'm assuming if they're attacking on sight, they're not really listening to them. The adventurers need to succeed on one or more challenging charisma checks to convince a hostile creature to do anything on the party's behalf. However, the DM might determine that the hostile creature is so ill-disposed toward the characters that no charisma check can sway it. In which case, the first check fails automatically and no further influence attempts can be made on the creature unless his attitude shifts. Interaction. When you make the influence action, either roleplay out how your character interacts with the creature or describe your character's behavior, focusing on your character's request or demand. If the interaction is especially suited to the creature's desires and outlook, the DM might grant advantage to your subsequent check, or might temporarily shift a hostile creature to indifferent or indifferent to friendly. Similarly, if the interaction is particularly irksome to the creature, the DM might impose disadvantage on your subsequent check or temporarily shift a friendly creature to indifferent or indifferent to hostile. Pretty cool. Okay, so it gives you DCs for ability checks, indifferent responses. It helps you out, right? If you're indifferent, if the indifferent person, you roll a 10, the creature does as asked, as long as no risks or sacrifices are involved. Creature accepts a minor risk or sacrifice to do as asked. And then kind of the same thing here. No help but does no harm. Creature does as asked as long as no risks or sacrifice are involved. Okay. We got invisible as a condition. Oh, it's a condition now? Wait, was there another condition that I missed? Incapacitated. Hidden is a condition. Well, yeah. A condition. Hold on. I want to read this. Attacks are disadvantage. So you can see them. If you aren't affected by any effects that requires a target to be seen. That makes sense. Attack rolls against you have disadvantage, and your attack rolls have advantage. But if you can't see them, how can you hit them? The condition ends on you immediately after the following occurrences. You make it sound louder than a whisper, an enemy finds you, or you make an attack roll. You cast a spell with a verbal component, or interesting, with a verbal component. So now you can cast spells while hidden as long as it's not a verbal component. That would be an interesting build. Or you aren't heavily obscured or behind any cover. Interesting. Okay. Invisible, it says surprise you. You are invisible when you roll initiative. You have advantage on the roll. And then attacks affected, attack rolls against you have disadvantage, and your attack rolls have advantage. Until when? Or no, just while you're invisible. That makes sense. Yeah. Jump. Oh! Okay. There's a magic action. So there's attack action and then a magic action. I don't think this was a thing before. Also could be wrong. But this is kind of cool. When you take the magic action, you cast a spell that has a casting time of action, or use a magic item that requires an action to be activated. Interesting. Also kind of cool with the tag. So when you have a feat that says that you interact with a magic action a certain way, that'll include a spell and a magic item. Excuse me. That's kind of cool. If you cast a spell that has a casting time of 1 minute or longer, you must take the magic action on each turn of that casting. Yeah, so it's basically just if you have a casting time of 1 minute or longer, yeah. So like a ritual. And you must maintain concentration while you do so. If your concentration is broken, the spell fails. Yeah. Okay. We have long rest. So you regain all HP, regain all HD, hit dice, HP max restored, ability scores restored, and then... Wait. Hit points, hit dice, max hit points, ability scores, What about other things? What about your other slots? Well, I guess it says that like in the abilities themselves, whether you get it back on a long rest or not. Ooh, ritual casting. If you have a spell prepared that has a ritual tag, you can use that as a ritual. Doesn't matter if you have ritual casting or not. They got rid of ritual casting altogether, essentially. So even if you are a spellcaster that doesn't have like ritual casting, now that doesn't matter. Any spellcaster can use ritual casting if it has a ritual casting tag. Okay. Search action. Hold on, before I see speed of 0, musical instrument, primal spells. Okay. Search action. When you take a search action, you can make a wisdom check to discern something that isn't obvious. The search table suggests which skills are applicable when you take this action, depending on what you're trying to detect. You have... Oh, is that true? So now, yeah, if you're invisible, you get advantage on initiative. Yeah. Okay, skill, things to detect. So insight, if your creature's state of mind. Medicine, creature's ailment. Perception, concealed creature or object. Survival, tracks food. Guys, this kind of makes me excited to play D&D. Just like, I mean, obviously I'm always excited to play D&D, but I'm just like, I want to play D&D with this and just like have a character that's really good at searching. Like just the search, like a thing that just, a character that's all about the search action. And they can just like a mastermind rogue, just peering over the battlefield and finding weaknesses in the creature. And anyways, that's cool. We got slowed condition, which we looked at before. We have a study. Oh, a study action? Okay, when you take a study action, you can make an intelligence check to study your memory. Okay, so this is like a history check almost. A book, a creature, a clue, an object, or another source of knowledge, and call to mind an important piece of information about it. It's interesting that they're saying like it's an action, because when I usually run it at my table, they're like, oh, do I remember this thing? And I'm like, okay, just make a history check. This is like a free action, right? They're just thinking of this thing. They're seeing if they remember it. But to me, it's like, I don't know whether that will take away from like an attack action if they're like trying to remember something. I don't know about that. Areas of knowledge table suggests which skills are applicable when you take an action depending on this area of knowledge the intelligence check is about. Arcana. So you roll that if you're trying to test your knowledge about spells, magic items, eldritch symbols, magical traditions, planes of existence, certain creatures. History, historic events and people, ancient civilizations, the wars, certain creatures like giants and humanoids. Investigation, like traps, ciphers, riddles, and gadgetry. Nature for terrain, flora, weather, and certain creatures like those. And then religion, deities, religical hierarchies, and rites, holy symbols, cults, and certain creatures like those. I said what I said. I said what I said about that. That's so cool. It's so cool that they're like sectioning these things off. And then obviously they'll be able to include things later into a search action or a study action if they want to. Teleportation. Teleportation. What does it say about teleportation? As a special kind of magical teleportation, if you teleport, you disappear and reappear elsewhere instantly without moving through or the intervening space. This teleportation doesn't expend movement unless a rule tells you otherwise, and teleportation never provokes opportunity. Yeah. When you teleport, all the equipment you are wearing and carrying teleports with you. If you are touching another creature when you teleport, the creature doesn't teleport with you unless the teleportation effect says otherwise. If the destination space of your teleportation is occupied by another creature or blocked by a solid obstacle, you instead reappear in the nearest occupied space of your choice. The description of a teleportation effect tells you if you must see the teleport's destination. Yeah. And then we have the unarmed strike, where you have the I don't know if this has changed. Target takes bludgeoning damage with your strength modifier. Target is grappled. You can do one of the following. Sorry. You can damage, you can grapple, or you shove. I think that's the same as before. And that's it, guys. Whew. Whew. Take a big breath. Take a big breath. That was a lot, but I'm impressed that we covered all of them. Obviously, there are some things that I missed. Obviously, I didn't go into things as much detail as I wanted, but there's a lot of juicy stuff here, and that I'm excited for. Please retake a look at the Bard. Please retake a look at the magic school, the magic school requirements, or not being able to use all of the magic schools in your certain classes. Again, don't put the limitations in the class for the schools. Put them in the subclasses. Let us flavor the main class how we want to. Please. And thank you. Andrew Cox, hydration check now after all that. Yeah. I got some water right here. Don't worry, we're good. Yeah, you guys. Obviously, I'm sorry I haven't paid a lot of attention to the chat. Been trying to get through all this, but I mean, I've been seeing a couple of you guys, and it seems like you guys your gears are already turning with things that you can use, like different ways that you can flavor, and hopefully. I want obviously to like make flavorful videos about these things, but things are so prone to change like the next couple weeks that I feel like those videos are not, they won't be legacy videos. They won't be. Diet Blue, I don't like the bar changes. Thank you. I appreciate that. You make me feel heard. Thank you. Is anyone happy with the Bard? Is anyone happy with the Ranger? Is anyone happy with the Rogue? Is anyone not happy with the Ranger and still think that it's too weak and needs to be fixed? I've said before on your channel, Cleric is my favorite class, but Ranger is a close second. I love Rangers, even though like in some iterations they're not as strong. I still love the flavor of them. What changed in Exhaustion? Andrew Cox. Let's look. See if we got another. See if we got one here. If there is a change in Exhaustion, or did I? Hold on. Where is that? Exhaustion. Capacitated, hide, help, hidden, guidance, expertise, exhausted. There we go. Okay. This condition is cumulative. Each time you receive it, you gain 1 level of exhaustion. You die if your exhaustion level exceeds 10. Whoa! Good call. Thanks for pointing that out or having us look at that. So instead of the 6 that it used to be, it's now 10. So when you roll a d20 test, you subtract your exhaust levels from the d20 roll. So you can have up to a -10 on your exhaustion level. And then subtract your exhaustion level from any spell save DC of any spell you're cast. Whoa! That's crazy! Ending the condition. Finishing a long rest removes 1 of your levels of exhaustion. When your exhaustion level reaches 0, you are no longer exhausted. Wow! I like that, guys. I like that. It didn't make sense to me that there are so many, like, exhausted before kind of felt all over the place to me. But this is kind of cool. It doesn't say that you can ever die from exhaustion. Oh, no, it does. It does. Okay, you die if your exhaustion level exceeds 10. Yes. You can still die from it. But 10 is a lot. I don't know about you guys, but in my experience in Dungeons & Dragons, I rarely get above first level of exhaustion, usually. So it would be interesting putting in more exhaustion features in the game. Either more enemies with exhaustion. I definitely would make this more of a feature in like homebrew monsters. I think that would be incredible. Or if they rolled like maybe a natural 1 after the 4th round in combat. I don't know. Like if a combat's running too long, like after the 5th level of combat, everyone rolls a check, and if they roll below a DC, then they're exhausted because it's a long fight. That would be also cool. I like this so much that I want to implement it as a DM because I like that it includes checks and save DCs. So again, this is melee and spellcasters. So that's pretty cool. Andrew Cox, my DM has us gain a level every time we go down in a fight. It makes it really hard. Wait, what? Really? I assume that's not the only way. Unless I would probably purposely go down. Rules and rulings. Exhaustion when you drop to 0 might be core rule. Wait, exhaustion when you drop to 0 might be core rule? I don't know what you mean by that, Flori. Is there anything else anyone wants to check out? We can probably check out one more thing, and then I got to go. Got to meet my sister after she's getting out of school, so I've got to make sure that she's taken care of. So there are a few things in here. Again, they're slowed. I don't think changed. Musical instrument. It's a tool proficiency. Tremor sense can pinpoint locations of creatures and moving options within a specific range, provided that the creature with tremor sense and anything it's detected are both in contact with the same surface. Makes sense. Or the same liquid. Yeah. Tremor sense can't detect creatures or objects in the air. Tremor sense doesn't count as a form of sight. Interesting. Cool. Instead of a house rule, getting a level of exhaustion when reduced to 0 hit points. Oh, yeah. Gaining a level. Yeah, that's another one as well. That would be good. Let's go up to that. Let's go back up to that. I like that so much, guys. I like it so much. And then berserkers should be resistant or immune to death by exhaustion. Ooh, maybe they will put that. Obviously, when they come out with the warrior classes, we might take a look at the berserker, maybe if they include it, and that would be definitely a new interaction with that for sure. Andrew Cox, we get a level of exhaustion when you reach 0 hit points, so we can't shut. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, I got it, guys. I got it. So we can't be infinitely revived. Yeah. I do this thing where you don't restore your death saving throws. So if you go down and you roll or you fail a death saving throw and you get back up again, that saving throw is still there. So you still fail it. So you go down again, you still only have 2. Troy Williams, don't like the changes. For what? for exhausted? I love it. Bandit Nation, what if sorcerers gained exhaustion levels instead of spending sorcerer points for spells? Ooh, that would be a very interesting dynamic as well. Like you need to get that one imported spell out, but you don't have any more slots, so you use all your effort. Honestly, if they don't do that, I think that would be such a cool concept for a Constitution caster. A Constitution caster for a sorcerer. Just have one based off of, like, not like maybe a wild magic, but like magic of self, blood magic, whatever. Where they use their Constitution. I mean, I have a blood, like a blood mancer, a half melee sorcerer, kind of like this, the Blade Singer wizard. I have a blood magic sorcerer on my website that you can check out. That's kind of does the same thing. He's a Constitution caster, but using this dynamic with it would be really cool. Matt Sinclair, it would be a huge nerf to sorcerers if they did. I would just be punishing them for using their main unique feature. Yeah, it wouldn't be for sorcery points. They still would be using sorcery points, but they could use this extra feature to maybe gain more sorcery points or use spells without a spell slot in like that way, or use it for some other thing. We don't know. I just think, but it's just a cool idea. I wouldn't know what it looked like in like mechanics if I had to sit down with it. Urkshar, your name. Utkarsh Gar, I'm so sorry. They have bounded the power of GWM and Sharp. Yeah, Great Weapon Master and Sharpshooter. But does that mean that marshals will fall further behind spells like animate objects, spirit guardians, conjure animals? Maybe. Like we've been talking about, the classes are going to have a boost anyway, so we can't really talk a lot about that until we actually see the classes. But I think they're changing it up. I think it's a lateral move. I don't think it's a nerf necessarily. Let's see if we can find it again. So great Weapon Master. Yeah, right here. So you can cleave, do extra damage, and then we hit a. So it's not a +10, but it's a. Wait. So you do make an extra attack, which could be really nice. I'd have to look at them side by side. But I don't think it's a nerf. I think it's a lateral movement. It's just making it different, which I think a lot of these are. Is it's just making it different, right? Making it more inclusive to other classes, making it more streamlined as far as like tags and understanding goes, making it less complicated or more intuitive. A lot of reasons. So, anyways, again, check it out on D&D Beyond. Again, you can find it here. You can click on there's a little drop down at the top, or you can find it on sources and then one D&D at the bottom. If you guys liked the video, give it a like and comment below some of the things that you like, some of the things that you're looking forward to, or some of the things that you totally don't. Even like as a reminder, right? If you look at this like in the next month or two and a new survey comes out, you're thinking like, oh, what did I think about these things? Put it in the comment and then remind yourself so you can review it. Come back and review what you said. That would be great. Okay. And then after that, make sure you're subscribed as well, everyone. Make sure you're subscribed because I do this a lot, and I'm coming out with a lot of fun things this next month for Undead. Every video next month will be just about Undead, horror, spooky, scary stuff, and I'm excited. We're gonna see if that's going to be successful in the month of October, right? Where it's probably the most popular, but anyways, last year wasn't as successful doing videos like that. But then again, last year I was like at 1,000 subscribers, and you guys have been incredible in helping me get to this point within a year. So thank you guys, honestly. Andrew Cox, thanks, Riker. We appreciate the stream. Hey, buddy, thanks. All right, well, hey, in the meantime, go out there and spread the good word of D&D and make the world a better place, both on and off the table. See you guys soon. Take care.